Hi everybody, good morning. My name is Mandy Cran and welcome to my moment of reflection for the week. And this week I'm talking about mosquitoes. So I've been doing these moments of reflection for about 4 years, and I started doing them when my father died, actually, around that time. I was quite a bad place. And sometimes I would just see a quote or picture and it would just make me take stock of my life a bit more, make me realise that perhaps it wasn't all bad. And actually it just helped me to put things into context a little bit more. So it's sort of developed over the years into the videos that I'm doing now. So I really hope this helps. If there's somebody you think that actually really benefit from the video and from the reflection, then please do forward it on them. Because if I can help anybody in that way at all, then that's what I would love to do. So please do like and share. Feel free to make comments and to ask questions as we go through. And I'll come back to those questions once I've finished doing the video. So the Dalai Lama once very famously said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. And I think that's a wonderful quote. I grew up in Scotland where there are midges everywhere, and a midge is essentially a mosquito, but it's a bit smaller, but it doesn't carry malaria. But the impact that one midge can have on you is huge. And I got bitten all the time. And if you're doing anything outside at all, walking, sailing, camping as we were, even just working in the garden on a still day, you just get swarms of these things and they get into all your clothing absolutely everywhere. And they have massive impact. And the bites itch for days, sometimes weeks afterwards as well. So they can have a massive, massive difference. And when I was small, I really resented being small because for those who don't know me, I'm about 5'3", and that's if I stretch on a good day. But it meant that when I was young, I wasn't quite tall enough to climb trees like my brother was, and he was 6 years older and he was quite tall. And even more important than that, it meant that when I tried to join the Merchant Navy, because I was under 5'4", I couldn't become a deck officer. At the same time, I couldn't go to sea with the Royal Navy, which was my passion, because I was female. So I had double whammy of being female and small, which I resented for quite a few years. But as I got older, as we all become older and wiser, I understood actually it wasn't about your physical size, it's about how small or big-minded you are on the inside. And there's lots of really small people who've been very, very successful because they feel they have to fight harder to be successul. Someone like Napoleon, for example, he was famously very short, but he wanted to prove that he could be better than those who weren't short. And you know, the world sort of changed as a result. Whether it's good or bad is entirely a personal opinion. So it's about what you are on the inside and not being small-minded on the inside. But the real point I wanted to make today was about how one tiny small act can make a huge difference. In the same way that one tiny mosquito or midge can make a huge difference to your life generally. And I wanted to tell you the story today of a lady called Dorothy Wood. About 10 years or so ago, she had an operation in hospital, and when she came round from the anaesthetic, there was a nurse there, and it was a lovely big African nurse, a great big smile on her face, really cheery. And as she came round, this was the first thing that she saw. And this nurse basically worked with her and helped her back to recovery over the next few days. And when Dorothy was about to leave the hospital, she turned to this nurse and said, "You've been so kind to me the last few days and really helped me. Is there anything I can do for you in return?" And this nurse said, "Well, actually there is. I'm from Malawi, a very, very poor village in Malawi in Africa, and we have no fresh water in the village. So every day, all our women have to walk miles to fetch fresh water for cooking, for drinking, for washing, everything. So the reason I'm working as a nurse in England is so that I can raise money to send back to this village in Malawi so that we can dig a well and obviously improve the life of all the villagers." So Dorothy said, okay. So the next couple of days, she got together all her friends, family, work colleagues and so on, and they raised the £2,000 needed to dig the well. And she gave it to the nurse. And I think Dorothy had died by the time the well was actually dug, but her daughter went out and basically handed it over to villagers. And so now, in the space of a few months, they had fresh water in the village. So the amount of time that saved them was massive. But when they went out there, they realised just how poor a village it really was. They really wanted to help more. So they set up the Dabu Foundation, DABW, which stands for Dorothy and Bill Wood, basically in Dorothy's name. And in the last 10 years, they've done some fantastic things. They've now built a maize grinding mill. Now, again, they had to walk miles to get their maize ground every day. So again, that saved them a huge amount of time. And it means that other villagers now come to use their mill because it's more convenient, and so they can earn some money from it. They've now built a clinic with a doctor and a couple of nurses. They've now funded all the things like malaria treatments for children, because before then, most children weren't surviving past 5, just from malaria. And now for drugs which cost pennies, all the children are surviving. And they're now going on to build a school. So they've made a huge impact in that one village in Malawi, just from one chance question all those years ago by Dorothy in hospital. But it doesn't just impact that village, because as that village becomes more secure and it has things which other villages are now going to come to, so like the clinic and so on, other people are going to come to and use. So that that goodwill and that everything just spreads out. Now, there's thousands of villages in Africa who are equally poor, absolutely, but you can't do them all at once. You can do one at a time. But the point I'm making is that just one small gesture like that can have a huge impact as it ripples out across the pond and across the oceans into other things. And you'd be amazed how one thing can just go so far. So my question for you is, have you ever done one small act or said one small thing and suddenly you found it's rippled massively out and affected lots of people in a really positive way? So I'd love to hear your stories. Let me know below in the comments, and if you have anything like that, I'm sure other people would love to hear them too. So never remember that even if you're a mosquito, you can make a massive difference. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Mandy Cran, and people come to me when they realise they need to make changes in their life if they want to have better health and quality family time in the years ahead. And one of the things I find really impacts quality family time is feeling guilty. So many people feel guilty, but particularly mums. If they're working, they feel guilty they can't do all the things that children they'd like to. They can't see the matches and the shows at school. And if they're not working, they feel guilty as not bringing money into the household. I can't treat the children to nice holidays and presents. So I do see so many mums struggling with guilt. So I've written an ebook, 12 Ways to Have More Guilt-Free Time with Your Family. It's free to download. Just go to my Facebook page, the Buzz Group Be More, and just click on the link on the left that says ebook. So next week, I'm going to be talking about dirt and how it can lift you up. Join me 10 o'clock live next Friday on Facebook, the Buzz Group Be More. And in the meantime, have a fabulous week until next Friday.